Hey everyone, this is Anna. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to show you how I made this super cute card using the Dear Friend stamp set. I used various images from the set, including the deer, the porcupine, the trees, and the sentiment as well. I start by stamping the deer on oatmeal cookie cardstock using black licorice ink, and then the trees for the background using limeade splash cardstock and ink. For the two trees that I will be using towards the front of the card, I am using whipped cream cardstock and both kiwi slice and also limeade splash. I wasn't sure which one I was going to use, so I stamped one of each of the trees in both colors. To color the images, I am using color burst pencils and the color blenders with baby oil. So I start as usual by coloring the edges of the deer, and I use different shades of brown and also some white for the chest and a little bit of the tail. And then using the blender and the baby oil, I blend all the colors together, and I chose to do oatmeal cookie cardstock instead of just white to get a little bit more rich of a brown color for the body of the deer. And for the porcupine, I did the same. I stamped it with black licorice ink on oatmeal cardstock and then colored it with different shades of brown. It turned out to be a little bit darker than I wanted it to be, so I went ahead and got a white eraser and just erased some of the color off around the face area. I'm so happy I get to use the border details set. This die set was given to me by Fun Stamper's Journey as a gift. As part of my Golden Unicorn promotion, I was one of the 10 lucky winners, and they sent me a package and this die set was included. I'm using the die for the grass and I will be cutting it in 3 different colors, and then I will be inking the edges with matching ink pads. And the 3 colors are green olive, kiwi slice, and limeade splash. I decided to use my daubers to ink the edges of the grass just to give it a little bit more richness and depth, and I thought it came out really well. I like how the colors look together. I will be using all 3 rows of grass for my card, and I really like how the colors work with each other. I am fussy cutting all the images, including the 2 little critters and also the trees that will be in the background and also right next to the animals. And the reason I decided to do the background trees on this in color ink and cardstock, I thought that this will give it a kind of like a far away look, not so much detail, and I thought that will give it, you know, more dimension on the background of the card. For the trees that I will be using towards the front of the card, I am adding a little bit more color with color pencils, and also with green olive ink, I am using my dauber to ink the edges and also add a little bit of color inside of the image. For my card base, I'm using oatmeal cookie, and it's just a regular A2 size top fold card, and I'm using a design from the Springfield Prints. It's one of our new sets of papers from Bloom This Way mini catalog. It's gorgeous, it's fun clouds, and I thought it would match perfectly with this background. Here you see me adding the rows of grass using craft glue and just cutting any remainders from the side by flipping the panel to the back and cutting from behind. I chose to use liquid glue just because it gave me a little bit of extra leeway if I needed to move the grass as I adhere it to the background. And here I am adding the background trees as well, and they are going flat to the background. And then for the trees up front, I will be using some medium foam squares just so they can have more dimension and give you the illusion that they are towards the front of the card rather than the other ones on the background. I wanted to try this and see if it gave it more depth to the card, and I really like how it turned out. I am using hazelnut blend ink to add a little bit more of brown towards the bottom of the card to make it look a little bit like dirt right under the grass, and this is where the little porcupine will be at. And the deer will also have some foam squares, and actually I'm adding 2 foam squares here in a second to the head of the deer because the grass added a little bit more volume, so it needed an extra layer to sit up straight on the grass. And I'm using my crease tool to add a little bit more dimension to the ears and the tail. And I'm using the sentiment from the same set. It says Dear Friend, which I think is super cute. And I'm using just a regular black marker to add a little bit of stitching around the little strip of paper. And I left a little bit on the side because I want to use one of these hearts from the Forever Heart clips. These are little wooden embellishments, and I wanted to put a little bit of extra dimension with this little heart shape. I also added a couple more shapes from the same set. This one is a little cloud with a little heart, and then I have another heart that we'll put right next to the porcupine. I wanted to add a little bit of color to the heart, so I'm using bubblegum silk to add a little bit of pink, and then I wanted it to be lighter, so I added some whipped cream on top of that. I did 2 layers of whipped cream and then added some sparkle silk. I also added sparkle silk to the other 2 embellishments, and let me tell you, sparkle silk looks amazing against this little wooden little shapes, so I recommend that you give that a try. I wanted this card to have a lot of dimension, a lot of depth, so I'm really happy how it turned out. And of course, as usual, I try to find a way to add some journey glaze since it's my favorite embellishment. So here you see me putting a little bit on the wooden accents. And to adhere the panel to the card base, I'm using some foam squares. And the very last touch will be to add a little bit more color to the nose and eyes of the deer as well as the porcupine, and I'm just using my black marker. And this is my card. I really like how it turned out. I cannot wait to give it to a friend of mine. And if you would like to purchase any of these items, please visit my website funstampersjourney.com/Anna Reese. Next time you're on Facebook, come and look for me. There you will find more information on new products and events. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so very much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below or send me an email. Take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you next time.